I'm not going to do it on camera right now because the sound is absolutely disgusting, but you fully like... The wand is in the milk and there's this tear inside. So as you can see, the coffee grinds are quite fine. Hello everybody, how you doing? I hope you're all doing really well. Welcome back to my channel and to a very exciting video because this has been quite highly requested. A lot of you guys seem to like this, which is my coffee machine, and a lot of you do request a video tutorial style on how to use a coffee machine, how to brew espresso at home, how to do latte art, how to make essentially barista style coffee at home. This year has been a bit tricky financially for a lot of us. Obviously with the lockdown, a lot of our favourite coffee shops weren't open, so being able to brew good coffee shop standard barista coffee at home is an absolute dream, and hopefully from this video you're going to be able to learn how to do it, pick up some tips and tricks, or maybe even consider investing in a coffee machine so you can have good quality barista coffee at home. The things we're going to cover in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about this coffee machine. I'm going to teach you how to do some latte art, which is what everyone wants to do at home to make their coffees look extra fancy. I'm going to give you a bit of terminology about how to brew good espresso and what to look out for. And yeah, that's pretty much going to be it. We're going to have a laugh along the way. Fun fact, I used to be a barista. I've lived in London for over 4 years now, and before I started my job online, creating videos and that kind of thing, I was a barista, so I was trained by some really good top baristas from around the world. I'd like to think I know a little bit about coffee. I'm not by any means a pro, but I do have a very solid understanding of coffee and how to brew it. So yeah, rest assured you're in good hands. So let's get cracking. One of the first and most asked questions whenever I feature this coffee machine in my video is, what coffee machine do you use? Where is it from? How much is it? All those types of questions. So this is a Sage Barista Express, and it's arguably one of the best coffee machines out there. There is a wealth of coffee machines out there on the internet, and obviously I did a lot of research before I was going to buy a coffee machine. I knew a lot about coffee machines at home, what to look out for. The idea and rule of thumb is go to your top end of your budget. Spend as much as you physically can on your coffee machine and it will last you a lifetime. So I had this, well, this came into my life for Christmas last year. I bought it from John Lewis. I will link it down below if you guys want to check it out. I'm not going to lie to you, it's expensive. It's currently on sale for £549. I did get it in the John Lewis Christmas sale, and I had a John Lewis voucher and a little bit of money left over from Christmas from my family. So don't think that I just went and bought this outright. This is an investment. Trust me, if you look after this machine, it will look after you. Like I say, there's a wealth of coffee machines out there. And espresso machines do really good coffee, like the pods. I do have one of those as well. Of course, you can brew coffee the traditional way as well. I always use a cafetiere. I love these, or a French press, depending on what you call them. This is a stovetop espresso, very famous in Italy, and this is a tiny little mini espresso. Just pop this on your gas hob and it brews some amazing espressos. So there are other alternatives that are budget friendly if something like this isn't in your price bracket. So now that we've talked about the machine, it is fantastic because it grinds coffee in the machine as well as steaming your milk. So it's the full shidazzle. I just created that word. It's brilliant. I absolutely love it. This is not sponsored by any means, although I wish it was, because it would have been a dream to work with Sage. But yeah, absolutely love this machine and genuinely thrilled to have it in the kitchen. So let's get talking about coffee. I absolutely love coffee. I have a lot of coffee on hand. The coffee we're going to be using today is by a brand called Balance. It's roasted in London. It's a subscription service. This is very kindly sent over. I've been having this for around, I'd say, 2 months. It was roasted in June. It's fantastic. Do keep your coffee beans in the airtight bags that they come with, guys. I know I've got some in a jar. I just decanted these for the video purpose. Yeah, any good coffee bean, depending on how dark your roast is depending on how intense your flavour is going to be. That's a general rule of thumb. That's pretty much it. The other thing we're going to talk about is milk and water, 2 essentials to make a good cup of coffee. A lot of people like black coffee, espresso. Personally, I drink all kinds of coffee. I have filter coffees, I have French press coffee, espresso, lattes, flat whites, you name it, I'll drink it. But 2 milk varieties that I would strongly recommend. A lot of people don't drink dairy now. Dairy's kind of, I mean, it hasn't become vilified, but the dairy industry isn't great. I bought it for the purpose of this video. We don't drink milk in this house. But whole milk, if you want to practice latte art, is the best type of milk to use because it's got a really high fat content, which makes the milk lovely, creamy and smooth. However, what we do have for our teas and coffees in this household is Oatly, which is it's fantastic. I cannot rave about Oatly enough. There is a lot of milk alternatives out there. Almond milk, pea milk, I tried the other day, wasn't really a fan. Hemp milk, you name it, like it's the rice milk, coconut milk, there's a lot. But personally, I love barista style Oatly. It's really good. It foams up beautifully to make good coffee. It doesn't curdle in your hot drinks. It's wicked. You can pick it up in most good supermarkets now. Minor Figures do a really good one as well. Quite tricky to get a hold of, but yeah, Oatly is fantastic. I think it was actually made in the US. I could be wrong, but yeah, it's amazing and totally vegan, so it's wicked. And the last thing that we're going to talk about is water. So as you know, I live in London. I used to live in the northeast, and northeast water compared to London water, I miss the water at home. It's a different breed. We actually, when we first, it was one of the first things I bought. My mum actually bought me this. I said, Mum, the water in London tastes horrible. She went, aye, it does, son. So she bought me a Brita filter. I've had 2 of these so far, and the first one actually broke, but this one's lasted us a while. We just changed the filters. I would strongly recommend using filtered water in your coffee machines, and also if you can do it in your kettles. I know not everyone can be bothered, but trust, especially in London where there is so much chemicals put in the water, it's a dream. So do use filtered water if you can. Right, I feel like that's a big, long ramble. We're going to get into making some coffee now. If I do miss anything in this video that I haven't quite covered and you need to explain more, then do let me know in the comment. Also, I'm going to try and keep this as less technical as possible without any jargon. Baristas love to hone in on their craft, and they're going to throw things like channeling, over extraction, blooming, to name but a few, dialing in, grind size. Trust me, it took me a while to get my head around it. This is going to be the simplified version of how to brew an espresso. So this coffee machine is brilliant because it has the ability to grind, obviously, beans instantly, which is just a dream. You can buy grinders on the side, and you can adjust the grind amount that you want, so you can have less coffee or more coffee. You can do a single or a double portafilter. Today we're going to do a double, so that's what we're going to swap it over to there. You also have your pressure gauge here, which is really good when you are extracting your coffee. First technical term, extracting just means when it comes out of the portafilter, which is this. You want it to be in this grey zone here, which is like the optimum pressure, and then we're going to do singles and doubles over here. Beans go in the top. This is what's called a bean hopper. Really, really good. To actually take this off, you need to twist this at the top and then pull it out. We're not going to do that today, but that's how you clean this machine. I wouldn't recommend overfilling your hopper just because you want the beans to be fresh. And we're going to be brewing them in these espresso coffee glasses. If you go anywhere that's a good coffee shop in New Zealand, Australia, they know their coffee. They do them in glasses. It's so much better than mugs. So what we're going to do is grind our coffee. Now, when you grind your coffee, it is so important because this can alter the whole taste and extraction of your coffee. So I'm going to come to the side and you guys are going to see what I mean by that. So on the side here, we have something called grind size, and this machine is brilliant because it shows you fine and then it also shows you coarse. Now, the coarser your coffee, the more the water is going to run through, which is going to make a faster extraction, which also might lead to an under extraction. So it might be really, really just weak, and there's not really going to be much taste to it. It'll be quite just bland. Now, if you go too fine, which is on this side, your coffee grinds are going to be really, really small, which means the water is going to struggle to get through the coffee, which might make it a little bit over extracted and quite sour and bitter. So you really want to find like the optimum grind size. I've got mine currently set on 5. It totally varies with what type of coffee you use. Each coffee beans are different and need a different extraction amount. So we're going to go ahead and grind some coffee. Now, this is what you grind your coffee in. This at the end, I'm just going to pop it out so you guys can see. So this is what you call a portafilter. This is a double portafilter, and this is what you're going to grind your coffee into. So you just want to make sure that that's securely into your basket. Pop it down so it's nice and flush, and then you're ready to grind some coffee. Now, this has an automated grinder in it, which actually allocates a double amount of coffee, which is perfect. So you just need to push it and it'll start grinding. So as you can see, the coffee grinds are quite fine. The smell is absolutely incredible. And this is perfect, ready to be tamped, which I'm going to show you how to do now. So tamping your coffee is very, very important. This is a tamp. It's actually magnetic and goes away into the machine. But basically what you want to do is lay your coffee portafilter on a flat surface and pop your tamp on top. Now, it should be perfectly in line with this. So I find it best to use my finger and thumb, and you want to apply enough pressure that you get a perfectly smooth surface. So I'm going to give it a bit of a tap. It's quite hard to do on camera. So just press down. You need to apply a fair amount of pressure, not too much, but just enough so it's all compacted in. I do one twist and lift out vertically. That's perfect. And that is one perfectly tamped and filled coffee basket ready to brew your espresso. It should be nice and smooth with no major lumps. Now we're going to go ahead with dialing in. This is what you call extracting your espresso. As I said, we have two options here, a single and a double shot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to purge the machine first. This just gets rid of any excess water or coffee grinds that have built up from last time. So I'm just going to do a single shot and just run that through. So even though I do regularly clean this machine, sometimes there will be something left over. So this would have actually gone in your coffee and would have affected the taste. So that's run through, so I'm going to tip that out. I'm going to run it through again just to ensure that there's nothing coming out there that shouldn't be in there. This is also really good because it pre-warms your cups. It keeps the coffee hotter for longer. Just going to give that a quick wipe. And now we're ready to dial in. So you want to grab your portafilter, pop it into the side. It should click in, and then you just want to twist it until it's nice and stiff. So you turn it towards your right. Pop your glass underneath where you're going to extract your espresso, and then we're going to hit a double because we're going to make a flat white here. So you want to hit the double espresso extraction, and I'm going to point out some things to look for. What you want to look out for is your pressure bar to rise up in between somewhere around this place here, and if you've tamped it well, you should get a nice steady stream, which we have here, of espresso coming out. And this is what we call the blonding phase. So this is when your espresso goes a wonderful golden brown colour, which is perfect. And we should get a nice, rich golden crema on top of our coffee, which is exactly what we want. Now, if you aren't an espresso drinker, this is going to be quite difficult for you to do, but realistically what we want, I've got a spoon here, you can actually taste the espresso notes. So go off of your nose. How does it smell? Does it smell sour? Does it smell sweet? Does it smell well balanced? Coffee is an art. It's kind of like wine. You can actually push the coffee, the crema away and get involved. It's called spooning, it's called cupping and spooning in barista terms. And it's a great way to fully taste your coffee. I'm not going to do it on camera right now because the sound is absolutely disgusting, but you fully like slurp it and you get air in as you taste it. It's really, really good technique to get to know your coffee. But this is looking like a really good, like I say, I have coffee every day. I know this is the perfect grind size. So what we're going to do now, steam some milk. One good thing to do when you have finished brewing your espresso is to tap out the grinds. This is a knock box. I got it from John Lewis. It's the Sage knock box. It's really good. It just empties the whole casket. Obviously you can compost this or use it in plants. It's just nice and keeps everything like tidy. Okay, so now we have our espresso. We have our milk jug. We're going to do some milk steaming. Now, as I said, you can use your Oatly milk if you would like. However, for the sake of this video, I'm going to use full whole milk, just because it does provide the best for latte art. Now, when you're filling your milk, for one coffee, that's about enough. And I'm going to bring close to the camera. What you want to look for is it's just below the spout. This is your steam wand. This is a very, very hot piece of equipment. I really do recommend that you move it with whatever nozzle or rubber attachment you have. On the operating on this system, you just turn it towards your left, and this will activate the steam wand. If you just direct it down through this little hole here, it's just going to purge some water out of the spout. Just gets rid of any built up condensation or anything in there that you don't want going into your milk. Perfect. So, grabbing your milk, you want to pop the steam wand into your milk. Now, I'm not going to stand here and say you're going to get perfect barista style latte art first time around. It takes baristas months, if not years, to master it. But some simple techniques that are going to make you have great milk are as follows. When you're steaming your milk, turn it on when the wand is in and pop it at a slight angle. So as you can hear, the wand is in the milk and there's this tearing sound. That sounds like tearing a piece of paper. That's how I was taught when I was making coffee. You want to sound like it's a hissing, like a little tss, tss, tss. I have the wand just slightly off of an angle and inside you can see that there's a whirlpool going on. So that whirlpool is going to incorporate any bubbles that you pop into your milk and make sure you get a beautifully smooth, glossy texture ready to pop in your espresso. Now with this jug, it's a really fancy jug. It has a little thermostat on the side, if you can see. This is great because if you aren't used to the temperature of milk, I always pop my hand on the bottom of the jug just to ensure that it doesn't get too hot. Scotch milk is not a nice taste, guys. We just want to steam this until it's beautifully hot and ready to pop in your coffee, which is about now. So while the wand's still in, just turn it off. You'll hear that sound. Remove your steam wand and wipe this immediately with a damp cloth. This just gets rid of any excess milk on the wand, and then you just want to purge it as well. One last wipe, and that is your beautifully clean steam wand. So I've created more of like cappuccino milk here, but that's absolutely fine. So you just want to really refine the milk. This is called polishing. Just by swirling the milk around. As you can see, it's really nice and thick because we used whole milk. You can do a few bashes just to get rid of any naughty air bubbles if there are any in there. But we're ready to pour. So I'm going to try and do this in view of the camera. So what you want to do is swirl. Now, I start off by pouring directly into the jug, incorporating the crema. I stop and then I go for it. So we stop, we tip, and we go. Perfect. So that, okay, not the best. As I said, I'm not a barista and it's quite difficult to do it through the camera, but that is essentially what you're going to call a, I'd say that's more of a latte version on a cappuccino. The milk is so important. I did slightly oversteam this, it was quite tricky to do. Don't worry, we're going to do a couple more. But yeah, your milk is super important because you want it to be rich and glossy, but nice and smooth. And the great thing about making coffee in glasses is you can actually see it settle. So as the lighter milk falls to the bottom, the foamier milk will stay on top. This is definitely more of a latte than a flat white, but yeah, absolutely perfect. Okay, so now we've done our regular dairy milk, we're going to be using some of the Oatly now. If you do, as I said, use a non-dairy milk, do be aware that it won't like steam up how regular milk will. It might be a little bit difficult, it might not be like the same texture, but it'll still taste great. So like I say, do shake before you pour in, and I am using the Barista Edition, which I don't know how they make it more creamy, it just is, and it works. It's like really thick, creamy oat milk, like you can see, it's got a really good consistency. So I'm going to do, it's going to be my final coffee, because I've already had a coffee today. I've just made 2 coffees. My third coffee, I give Zara a coffee, we're going to be wired. So I'm going to come a bit close to the camera so you guys can get a rough idea of what we're working with. So like I said, this is the oat milk. So we're going to pour in. It is a slightly thinner consistency than regular milk, but that actually can work. And then we're going to go for a bit of latte art. There we go. So that's what they call a tulip. You can stack as many layers as you'd like in a tulip. You can do 1, 2, 3. The motion when you're pouring latte art is that you want to keep everything nice and fluid. Don't be too rigid and move the thing around like that. You just want to be nice and smooth and just slow, consistent movements, I guess. And the closer you get to the espresso, the cleaner your lines are. That it's quite difficult to explain. It's one of those things, practice makes perfect. If you do have one of these machines, a good way to practice latte art is pop some water in with some fairy liquid, like washing up liquid, and you can literally steam it as you would milk, and it makes exactly the same thing. Obviously you just can't drink it. But yeah, this is made with oat milk. So that is everything, guys. I really hope you have enjoyed this very brief, very quick tutorial on how to brew espresso and make good quality coffee at home. Of course, I've been making flat whites this morning. If you want to make a latte, you can just do 1 shot of coffee and more milk. A cappuccino, you just want to add more air into your milk to make it nice and frothy. Of course, you can dust it with cocoa if you'd like. Mochas, you can use chocolate powder, stir that with your espresso, and then add your milk as you normally would. Having one of these machines, when I first went to buy this machine, I was a little bit skeptical. I thought, this is a hell of a lot of money. Am I going to get my use out of it? Is it going to be a good investment? Hand on my heart, guys, this has been the best purchase of, I'd say, like, the century. It's my pride and joy. As I said, I will link this piece of equipment down below. I'll also link some alternative coffee machines that are a little bit cheaper if they're going to be more budget friendly for you guys. I'll scour the internet and find the best ones that I know work really well. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this. It's been somewhat informative. Let me know in the comments down below if you've got any suggestions, tips, any questions. More than happy to answer them down there. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Pour yourself a cup of coffee, get brewing at home, and yeah, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you all very soon. Bye for now.